Welcome back to Part-Time Cruisers. Today we're going to talk about the shows on the Scarlet Lady.
So the first show that we're going to talk about is the Untitled Dance Show. The Untitled Dance Show was a little bit different than what you've seen before. When you first go in, it is set up more of a stage where you can see people on stage, and then it transforms throughout the entire show. They have guys that are like directing people, like air traffic controllers, moving people out of the way as the platforms are moving around. It does create a very unique space because they're constantly moving things in different places to look for parts of the show. What I feel is the problem with the show is that they kind of get everybody hype and they're getting everybody involved in dancing at one point, and then they kind of slow everything back down, and then that goes hype again, and then slows things back down.
It's a trance song.
There isn't there. So I didn't like the pace of the show. The show was okay. There were some funny parts, some interesting dancing and singing, but I kind of look at it more as like almost like a dance competition where like you have different acts that come out onto stage and they do different things, which changes the pace of the show than more of a total show.
So what I'll say to that, I actually didn't go. My misunderstanding of it was I just thought it was a club night. I just thought they were going to have DJs set up and it was just going to be a dance party. So I don't know if that's an issue of the name, the marketing for it, but it truly is a show. There actually is a storyline involving like a space cat or something like that. I don't know.
So part of the show...
Shh, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Actually, all of the show has a storyline, sort of, but it's not throughout the whole entire show. So again, it's like pieces have a storyline, and then this piece has a storyline.
Okay. So one of the things you guys may have heard about Scarlet Lady and what Virgin's doing in general as they try to break the mold is they have pop-up shows or unadvertised performances. So these sort of happen all over the ship at random times. We were able to catch a few of them. There's, at least when we were on there, for instance, were a couple of gentlemen who would make cookies. There was a gentleman who was making drinks, sounded like the guy from Police Academy, doing sound effects and stuff. I saw a band perform and then have some emotional distress between the band members on purpose. It's part of the show, I think. So there definitely is pop-up entertainment. It was very hit or miss. Most people didn't like most of the pop-up entertainment, to be honest. I think some of that was just the pop-up entertainment that was chosen. I personally would like them to keep doing it, but experiment with some more formats, some more ideas, and increase the frequency a bit. These usually are very, very intimate affairs where you're talking only 5 or 6 people are experiencing it at a time. So, for instance, with the drink one, that was in the casino, one person got a drink and they were gone. So I would like if they had them a bit more frequent and maybe increased the variety of the types of pop-up entertainment.
One thing that we had talked about kind of closer when we were on the cruise about the pop-up entertainment was that you could actually make it into an activity at the same time. Like, for instance, that one person got the drink, but there were 5 or 6 other people who could have been given the drink, and finding a way to make a little bit more of a game out of it so that the winner of the game gets the drink would make it a little bit longer and more interactive for everybody.
Oof.
So one of the things that Virgin is trying to do is create unique experiences so that every sailor who comes off has a different experience. And they're doing that with the pop-up entertainment, but they're also doing it with like exclusive events. So one of the events that we were able to go to, which was similar to the pop-up entertainment, was the magic show. We had to get invited to this. So this was invites only, and you don't know when it's going to happen or who's going to be there because it's only based on those people who were invited. So it's a very secretive show, but we were able to enjoy it, and I enjoyed it. I mean, it was a nice time for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. I'm not sure how to get to it now. I mean, it was invite only, but that invite wasn't you're just on the ship, so you get an invite. You had to know people to know people. I mean, if it wasn't for her friend actually putting us onto it, we would have missed it the second cruise too. So it's definitely something to keep your ear out for. If you have some questions about it, feel free to talk about it in the comments, and we'll help out as best we can. I'm definitely going to try and do it again in the future. I know that the magician who we had has moved on to another ship. You're saying that there's a new magician on the ship?
There's a new charmer.
Charmer? Okay. So it's possible they're still doing this. But yeah. Magic. Arguably the most innovative show we've been to, and probably, speaking for myself, my favorite show on the cruise was Duel Reality. Duel Reality is one of those shows. I know a lot of, if you're doing your searching right now, I'm sure you've seen other content creators try and show pictures or short clips of it. We're probably going to have some B-roll of it right now, but it does not do it justice. I actually recorded about 2/3 of it, and of course I'm not going to put it on here because it's something that should be experienced. But even looking at the recording, it still just does not capture the feeling that was in the air. It worked on so many levels. There are parts of it that if you read it on a piece of paper, you're like, that's cheesy, that's overdone, yada, yada, yada. But they did such a good job with their performance. Now, I'm going on and on about it, but I haven't talked about what it is. It is a aerobic or skill-based performance where the individuals do things such as pole dancing.
I would not call it pole dancing. I would say more acrobatic.
Yeah, hula hoops, pole dancing, all sorts of stuff.
Pole dancing.
It's pole dancing, all right? There's nothing wrong with pole dancing. So you have to see it. It's more important than eating at any restaurant or going to any other show. Go see Duel Reality. I mean, we bumped into some of the crew on our last night, and we had to stop them and just we had to salute them because that show was awesome.
I mean, the same thing. I definitely think it's a show that you should go experience. And there's nothing we can show you or tell you about it that is going to really showcase it, but to experience it yourself.
Never sleep alone.
Ow! Ow!
That's one of the more discussed or talked about shows on the Scarlet Lady. I was very excited to see it. I mean, it's an adult cruise, so going to a adult-only show was very high on my list of things to do, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. We actually went twice. First time we went, we were literally the last people to get in. So the manor is 2 stories, and we were on the top floor in the corner, barely able to like look down and see anything.
That was because we were actually on the waiting list, so people didn't show up and they had a long waiting list. So if you don't get to get in on a show like Never Sleep Alone, you can also be part of that waiting list.
So the second time we got there earlier, we got really good seats so good that I got picked to go on stage.
This is an interactive show, by the way.
Yes.
So it is completely interactive. There's only a very small portion of the show that is just the show part. Most of it is actually audience participation.
With that said, though, it is definitely still a show.
Yes.
More so than an activity. It's not a game show, but it definitely plays up one of the things that you'll see on Virgin a lot, which is audience participation. That really does drive most of the narrative in a fun and entertaining way. If you're a prude, you may not enjoy it, but the show also isn't as vulgar as they sometimes pretend as though it is.
Yes.
They make it sound like it's over the top, but it's not really over the top.
If you've gone to any of the carnival, I forget what it's called, but where it's adults only and they're like scavenger hunt type things where you're on teams and you have to find like different, like, you know, somebody's bra or a shirtless whoever, and like I would actually say less than that, because some of those people would go a little bit more crazy than what they'll let you do on the actual stage.
So with that said, Virgin, if you are watching, go get a little more raunchy. That's okay.
No.
Yes.
No.
I thoroughly enjoyed the show. A big Will, so you remember.
For the 50-some people that were in the audience.
Hey, you never know who's watching. It's an entertaining show. It was 30 to 45 minutes long, and then after that, the room turns into a performance by the onboard band. Excuse me, I'm forgetting their name. I'm sure they've rotated out at this point, so I'm not sure who it actually is right now. But the onboard band essentially comes in, just becomes a full-blown party. Book signings in the back, drinks at the bar, just a good night, good evening for everybody. So, after you've been to Never Sleep Alone, you obviously don't want to sleep alone. But if you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, you'll never be alone because we'll always be right there with you whenever we drop new video content. So one of the things they have almost every night in some capacity somewhere are DJs. They have DJs next to the vinyl store, in the roundabout. They have DJs at the manor. I'm sure there was some event that had DJs in the Red Room. And of course, they have had DJs on the upper decks as well. So the DJs play a good selection of music. Not a lot of before my generation, I guess. I'm an 80s baby. But more modern stuff, dance music, some hip hop, some R&B. Good balance. We were able to, my wife, who doesn't stay up to date on music, she was able to dance because she knew half the songs played when we were dancing in the manor.
Sure.
Like Nelly's Hot in Here, for instance, was came on. Montel Jordan, This Is How We Do It. DJs got in their bag, did what they were supposed to do, very effective.
So we've already talked about how interactive the Scarlet Lady has with their shows. So one thing that is extremely interactive is Scarlet Night, because you're supposed to dress up in red or have some type of red, and there are a lot of kind of pop-up activities going on throughout the ship. Please understand that there are pop-up activities going on, but they might not be everywhere in the ship the way it is advertised. So we did spend a couple times looking around trying to find activities, and we're not able to, but it is part of an activity and show. Some of Scarlet Night is a show portion, dancing out by the pool deck, watching things on the rocks. I wasn't trying to tell anything.
No spoilers.
Watching things go on the rocks. They try to do some things, meet up in the Red Room area. So there is a show aspect to it as well.
Yeah, I mean, Scarlet Night, it envelops the whole night. They transform the ship. You've obviously seen the gigantic octopus, which unfortunately we missed both times because of weather. But super fun evening. I'd say 80% people had on red. Some people just went all the way out there with their costume. Y'all keep doing it. It was fun. It was entertaining. They turn off a lot of the lights, so it's really dark, and I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm going to avoid it. But most of the activities take place or start on the 7th floor. You'll probably want to hover around the roundabout, no pun intended, but some of it does happen on the 6th floor. They do close out the night on the upper decks, but most of it is going to take place on the 6th and 7th floor. We actually started our successful Scarlet Night, because the first time we weren't so successful.
Not at all. We gave up and went to bed.
Yeah. We actually started it at the Loose Cannon, and there was some pop-up entertainment that came over there, and that let us know, just wait right there, and everything came to us. So that was actually kind of cool. And at the same time, we were doing the Shocktopus. So it became an awesome night off of that. I highly recommend embrace the spirit. Bring some red. I know I was wearing like a black shirt with some red on it. Gamble afterwards. Have drinks. Gamble. Dance. Enjoy the night. It's Scarlet Night.
Another show that you might be interested in taking a look at is Happy Hour with the Hostess. You can get some drinks and listen to some singing.
Yeah, unfortunately, we missed her every time. I don't know if it was intentional, but there were a lot of scheduling conflicts whenever she had her happy hour or any of her performances really going on. It clashed with, say, bingo. I think almost like her and the gamer have something going on, like a little beef, and it applies to the scheduling also. So we ended up going with the gamer. My wife loves bingo, so you always find us wherever they're doing bingo to that one out. So unfortunately we missed her. One of the most memorable shows for myself that I really let my hair down, no pun intended, and enjoyed was Odyssey. So Odyssey is essentially the last part, at least for us, it was the last show of the cruise. It was the night before it was time to go. And it's a mixture of everybody who's a personality on board performing, along with the onboard band and the DJ for a couple hours, I almost want to say.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah, and I mean, they bring out all the stops, skating, lightsabers, everything you could think of, they just threw it in. There's a potpourri of Pulp Fiction, music, everything is in there. It's a very enjoyable night. Lights, the bar stayed open late right there because it was on the upper deck, and they often closed that bar a little bit early, but they kept that open just because there were so many people out dancing and having a good time. And it's a good farewell to all the personalities that you meet on board, especially if you do go to a lot of the shows or activities and you start to get to know some of them. They even may get to know you by name. So you definitely want to check out Odyssey. They play a huge swath of music, from modern hip hop to 70s and 80s rock. I mean, my wife just said it's through the generations. So definitely a party for everybody.
One thing that I would caution people is during, I think it was Scarlet Night, like people jumped into the water, and they tried to do the same thing on Odyssey, but because of the way that they're performing and doing things, the water that splashes up or getting out of the water and the water you leave actually makes it dangerous for the performers. So that is one thing that I would caution you, is just, yeah, have a good time, but try not to jump in the water and cause them to have to rush around. We had security doing all kinds of things, trying to clean up so that they could keep performing.
I thought something bad had happened.
Yeah.
Like, oh, security's running.
Yeah, they were just running to clean up the stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching our video. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you're interested in finding out some other things to do on the Scarlet Lady, go ahead and hit this video over here, or there, or there, or there, or wherever you see it on your screen.
Right there and right there. No, there and there. Yeah, there we go. Click those videos, both of them.